Hi, everyone. Welcome back to your practice. Let's get started in our opening pose of our seated Shavasana or seated corpse pose, where we'll relax back into our chair. You can turn the palms of the hands to face up if you need more energy for today, or palms of the hands to face down if you need a little bit more calming or grounding. You can close the eyes or have a soft gaze down to the floor. And we'll just take a few moments here to not only relax the body, but also to check and see how the body's doing today. Making note of any areas that might require some modification or even skipping if needed. And then let's find our Ujjayi breath, where we're breathing in and out through the nose, if that's open and comfortable. Concentrating the breath as if we can breathe in and out of the lower belly region, so right underneath the navel. Feeling that area expand as you inhale, and then soften back as you exhale. Just a slight engagement of those lower belly muscles to release all the air out. And then finally, let's add that soothing sound of our breath. Just as if you're fogging a mirror in front of you, but keeping the lips together if you can. And let's maintain, or at least try to maintain, this way of breathing throughout our entire practice, allowing the breath to soothe the body, soothe the mind. And then let's draw the palms of the hands together at our heart center. And if you'd like to set an intention or a dedication for your practice, go ahead and do so at this time. And then slowly open the eyes if they're closed. Namaste. Great to see you all. Let's sit a little bit forward into our chair so we can come into our seated mountain pose. We're engaging through those core muscles to support that upright lengthening of the spine. Draw the shoulders back and down, and then pull the head back. So sitting as tall as you can comfortably, and let's draw the arms alongside the body. Let's turn the palms to face forward, and just take a moment here as you stretch those fingers, stretch the palms of the hands, and we're reaching those fingertips as far down towards the floor as you can. So feel the shoulders move down. Feel those muscles along the upper back start to engage to draw those shoulders down. And then on the inhale, let's circle those arms out and up, and always modify or skip anything that doesn't feel good. And then as you exhale, draw the hands back to your heart. Let's do a few more rounds as we slowly warm up through the shoulders and the chest. Match the movement to our breath. And just doing what feels good to your body. So always feel free to skip or modify anything that doesn't feel good. Let's change the direction. Inhale, arms up, and then exhale out and then down. So just a couple more times in this direction. If it feels good to draw the arms a little bit back behind you, feel free to do so, but really make sure that the joints are in a happy place. And then let's draw those hands back onto those thighs. Seated cow cat. Inhale, little arch in the spine, shoulders back, chest forward. And then exhale, round through the spine. Stretch it out to the back of the body. So inhale, seated cow pose to a comfortable point. And then exhale, seated cat pose, also to a comfortable point. Moving with the rhythm of the breath. This is the first kind of movements you're doing for the day. It's going at a slow and easy pace. And then let's return to that seated mountain pose. Draw the shoulders back and down. Let's add a few shoulder circles. So draw the shoulders forward, up, and then back. And then let's change the direction of those shoulder circles. Draw them back, up, and forward. And then let's release those shoulders down. Hands are just onto the thighs. Let's slowly turn the head over to one direction. Just get an easy stretch for the neck. Still finding that Ujjayi breath. And then slowly, let's draw the head through center and over to the other side. Nice easy stretch. And always noticing how the muscles are doing. And then let's draw the head through center. Let's circle those arms out and up as you take an inhale. And then exhale, easy side bend, just to a point that feels good. Inhale brings you back up. Keep the shoulders down. Exhale, side bend over to the other side. So as we move a few more rounds on the rhythm of the breath, remember if the shoulders don't feel so good in this position, you can keep the arms down either alongside the body or keep the hands down on your legs for a little bit more support. It's getting some early movements for the spine, waking up through the core muscles. And then let's draw the hands back down. Let's extend those arms forward, pull those shoulders down. Take an inhale here, and then as you exhale, we're turning, twisting just from the navel up, so lower half of the body stays still and stable. Inhale back to center, keep moving the shoulders down, and exhale over to the other side. So as we move with the rhythm of the breath, we're powering through those arms to a comfortable point. And we want to make sure that the arms twist with the chest, so the arms don't go at a different speed than the chest. And then last time on this side, coming back to center and then releasing those arms down by the sides. Turn the palms to face each other. Inhale, arms forward and up to your comfortable point, and then exhale, draw those arms back and up. So still sitting up tall, neutral position in the spine. So core, belly muscles are engaged. Inhale to lift the arms to your comfortable point, and then exhale, draw them back. So as we move a few more rounds, not only slowly warming up the shoulders, the chest, the muscles of the upper back, but also noticing. That's why we're moving in a slow way, to notice if there are any kind of tight or sticky spots that we might need to modify a little bit later or even skip. Let's do one more round. Inhale, arms forward and up. And then exhale, arms back and up. And then let's come back to center. Let's start to draw those feet together. Let's come into boat pose to start to warm up and strengthen the core. Scooch a little bit more towards the front edge of the chair. So we'll gently draw the inner thighs, the inner knees together, and let's lift the heels. So you get a stretch to the fronts of the ankles, and then we'll inhale to sit up tall, exhale, hinge it back. So maintain that flat back, squeeze the core muscles, the front, the sides, and even the back. And maybe for this first one, or leaving your fingertips underneath the thighs for a little bit of support, but feel a lot of strength, all those core muscles engaging to stabilize and keep that spine in neutral position. At any time, if you need to come up a little bit, you can, or if you need to even come out of the pose, you can. And then let's all come out of the pose, coming out of boat pose. And then you can relax through the legs. Maybe it's a little sway side to side, or whatever movement feels good. Maybe it's a little twist. So kind of still seeing how the body's doing, noticing any of those sticky spots. Let's come back to center. Sit up tall, draw those inner legs together, inner knees together, lift the heels, and then hinge it back. So maybe you're staying here with the fingertips underneath the legs for support. Maybe you're extending the arms forward, drawing the shoulders down. And breathe here. And maybe you're staying here with the arms forward. If you want a little bit more, you can lift the arms a little bit higher, as long as that feels good on the shoulders. Keep drawing the shoulders down, still tightening up through the core. One more Ujjayi breath. And then let's use our fingers to draw ourselves up and relax it forward, or find any movement that feels good. And then let's do one more time into our boat pose. Sit up tall, hinge it back, lift those heels, but keep the toes down. Maybe the arms are forward, or maybe they're starting to open out. Keep pulling the shoulders down. Really feel all the work of those muscles that support the core. They're working hard, but you're still allowing the belly to move up and down as you breathe your Ujjayi breath. One more round. And then let's use our fingertips to pull ourselves forward, separate those feet, and come into a supported forward fold, forearms onto the thighs. And if it feels good, you can release the head down, only if that's okay, on the neck. Last round of breath here. And then while we're here, let's keep our forearms onto the thighs, but start to lift the chest so you can feel that the length of the spine. And let's take one hand onto the thigh, keep the elbow in, and then we'll start to press into that hand as you straighten the arm and turn the chest just a little bit, just an easy twist, something that feels good, but think of always lengthening the spine and then turning the head as far back as is comfortable. And then let's slowly release, come back onto the forearms. You can round a little bit through the spine to stretch out the back of the body first. And then let's lift the chest. Try to find some length in the spine. Come up a little bit higher if you need to. And then we'll move over to the other side. Hand onto the thigh, elbow in, shoulders down. Lengthen through the spine. And then let's start to straighten that arm as you slowly turn the shoulders and the chest. Any amount that feels good to get an easy twist. And breathing here. And then let's slowly release on down. Let's round through the spine. And with the belly engaged, let's slide both hands onto the thighs, elbows in, and let's slowly roll it on up. Head is the last thing to come up. And then inhale, let's circle those arms out and up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Let's now warm up through the legs. So scooch back into your chair and you can lean your back into the chair. And we'll start by lifting one foot off of the floor, any amount, and some nice easy foot circles to warm up through the ankles. See how the ankles are doing for today, getting any cracks out. Change the direction of your foot circle. See if you can even wiggle your toes, even if they're in your shoes. And then inhale, let's straighten that leg forward, but draw the toes back towards your face. And then exhale, draw that thigh in as high as is comfortable, point out through the toes, keep the shoulders down. Inhale, kick it forward. And then exhale, draw it in. And then one more time, inhale to kick it forward, easy stretch for the leg. And then exhale, draw it in. And then if it is okay on the hip, start little circles with the knees, starting to warm up through the hips. See how the hip's doing for today, and change the direction of your hip circle. So remember to skip if you need to. And then let's move over to the other side. Lift that foot off of the floor, just enough so you can get a few turns of this foot. And then change the direction of the foot circle. And then let's inhale, kick it forward. Exhale, hug it in. So 2 more times. Not only warming up, feeling the muscles work, but also getting a nice stretch as well. One last time, inhale, kick it forward. And then exhale, hug it in. And then let's move to those circles of the knee, finding how this side is doing. And then change the direction of your knee circles. And then let's set those feet down. We'll still be pressing our back into the chair. Engage to those core muscles. And then let's start to straighten one leg forward. And you can either point or flex the foot, whatever feels good to you. Take an inhale here. And then as you exhale, let's lift that leg any amount off the chair or just a little bit higher. So it doesn't even have to leave the chair, just depending on how you feel. Find your Ujjayi breath. Really feel not only the leg muscles working, but also the lower belly. So feel that little squeeze there, and then go ahead and set it down. Let's move over to the other side. Hands can be on the chair for support if you need. Let's start to straighten the leg. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, we'll lift that leg higher, any amount. Maybe it's on the chair, maybe it's off, whatever feels good for you. Feel the work of that thigh, especially the hip flexor, and especially feel the squeeze of the lower belly muscles. So work in the core as well. Lots of work here. And then let's slowly release it on down. Let's do one more time on each side. So straighten the leg. Inhale, exhale, squeeze the lower belly. Use those muscles along with your leg muscles and hip flexor muscles to lift. Find your Ujjayi breath here, and then slowly release, and then over to the other side. Deep breath in. Exhale, lift any amount. Find your Ujjayi breath. Find your focus. And then let's slowly release it on down. Whew, lots of work for those legs. Let's scooch back forward into our chair, and let's come into our sit to stands. For our sit to stands, we'll sit little bit more towards the front edge of the chair. Separate the feet wider than the hips. Really feel that the heels are pressing firmly into the floor. And then we have two options. Option one, if you'd prefer not to come to a standing position, you'll sit up tall, engage through those core muscles, hinge forward at the hips, flat back, press into the heels so you can engage the muscles of the legs, squeeze the muscles of your bottom as if you'll stand up, but we'll just hold here and then come back to that upright seated position. If it is okay on your body to come all the way up to a standing position, same thing, tighten up through the core, strong flat back the whole time, hinge forward at the hips, press into the heels. Let's slowly rise on up, making sure those knees don't go past the toes and the knees track towards the center of the toes. And then when you come down, hinge forward at the hips, draw your bottom back behind you as you slowly bend the knees, reach for the chair, make sure it's still there, and softly land back into your chair. So up to 5 times or however many times feels appropriate for your body. Always making sure that you're tightening up through the core, whether you're in option 1 or 2, you're using those strong leg muscles, and you're making sure that the knees track towards the center of the toes and they don't go past the toes. So lots of good strength work, whether you are staying in your chair or coming all the way up to a standing position. I'll just do one more. All right. And then we will move to our standing poses. If you'd prefer to stay seated, you're welcome to stay in your chair and do as much of the poses as you can. If you would like to do the standing poses, please carefully come to a standing position behind your chair. And I will move this so you can see. And then let's come into mountain pose behind our chair if you're standing. So have those feet about hip bone distance apart, arms down by the sides, pull the shoulders down, tighten up through the core, always engaging through those core muscles when we're sitting upright or standing upright to support the position of the spine. And then on the inhale, draw those arms out and up. And then exhale, hands to the heart. Let's do that one more time so we can revisit our intention, find our Ujjayi breath, and then hands to the heart. Now let's come into a half sun salute. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, soft bend in the knees. Dive it into your forward fold. Hands on the chair for support, elbows in. Inhale, halfway lift, extend the spine, draw the chest forward. Exhale, release. And then let's rise with a strong flat back, engaging through the core, engaging through those leg muscles, and then hands to the heart. Let's do another round. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, dive it forward. The depth is up to you. Inhale, halfway lift, or even a little bit higher. Exhale, release. And then let's rise all the way up. Circle those arms out and up, if that feels good on the shoulders, and then exhale, hands to the heart. Now I'm going to give you the side view for when we come into our poses. So standing from behind the chair, let's first come into warrior one. So let's slide your left foot back, start to bend the right knee, stack, track, and freeze it, and then power through the left leg. Feel the arch of the left foot even engaged so that we can protect the ankle and keep that ankle in a relatively neutral position. And then when you're ready, upright the spine. Maybe stay here, maybe 1 or 2 arms lift or no arms, and let's move those shoulders down. We'll just take a moment here. Take a few rounds of breath. It's supposed to be pretty warm this week, so adjust accordingly. If you need to take any breaks, feel free, or water. Nice. And then let's slowly release those fingertips down. Let's straighten the right leg. And if you need to pull the chair a little bit closer, feel free. Try to keep those hips even, so both legs relatively straight, engage through the thigh muscles. So feel that the kneecaps are kind of moving up, but we're not locking out the knees. Take an inhale, and then as you exhale, we'll hinge forward at the hips, just until you feel a mild sensation. So we're not going into a deep stretch, just that mild sensation. Try to keep those hips even. We're still powering through those thighs, so feel the squeeze of those front thighs and breathing here. And then think about keeping the back of the neck nice and long. So getting some stretch, but also still working on strength, still tightened up through the core. And then let's begin to bend the right knee to stack and track it. And let's upright the spine. Take another inhale, find your warrior one with or without the arms, up to you. And then as you exhale, release them down and let's step it forward and move over to the other side. So let's step the right foot back, separate those feet about hip bone distance, heel to hip bone distance, and then find your warrior one. Bending the left knee, stack and track and freeze it. So tracking towards the center of the toes, stacked atop the ankle, and then power through that right leg. Feel the arch in the ankle of the right foot or the right leg. Feel them engaged too, so they are taking part in our pose. And then when you're ready, maybe one or two arms lift and pull the shoulders down. And taking about 3 rounds of our Ujjayi breath here. So because of the weather, it can be a little hot this week, we're going to do mostly just longer holds than a flow, just to make sure that we are conserving our energy. Keep pulling the shoulders down. Take another inhale. And then exhale, let's release fingertips down. Let's start to straighten the left leg. Shoulders and chest and hips stay pointing towards the chair, maybe drawing the chair a little bit closer towards you if you need it. And then tighten up through those thigh muscles. Think of lifting the kneecaps up just a little bit. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, you're hinging forward until you feel just a mild sensation behind the legs. So strong flat back, shoulders draw back, belly is tight. Back of the neck is long, so we're not looking forward or lifting the head up. We're just keeping that head in a neutral position. And breathing here in our pyramid pose. So still working those legs, still engaging through those thighs. And then let's slowly start to bend through the left knee to stack and track it. And when you're ready, upright the spine. We'll inhale, come back to warrior one. And then exhale, release those fingertips down and step it forward. Let's come into a supported forward fold, which is meant to stretch the back, the lower back. So hands onto the chair, separate the feet maybe a little bit wider than the hips, and then let's start to bend those knees and round forward. But our forearms are onto the top of the chair. So we're getting a nice easy stretch here. And then while we're here, if it feels good, you can pedal through the legs by bending one knee and straightening the opposite leg, and then over to the other side. And if it feels good to get a tiny little twist in the hips, you can, as long as that is safe for your body. It's like an added little stretch for the hips as well. And then let's come back to center, soft bend in both knees, engage through those core muscles. So we'll place the hands onto the top of the chair, elbows in, and press into the chair so you can roll up the spine with the support of the hands onto the chair. And then the head is the last thing to come up. And then from here, let's start to lift those heels as high as is comfortable. So feel a stretch for those toes. And if you want to play with the balance, maybe you're just leaving one hand on the chair or a finger, or hovering the hands. Getting a little work for those ankles, for the feet. Find that Ujjayi breath. Make sure the shoulders over the hips, head over the tailbone, and then let's softly release it down. Let's keep the right foot where it is and step the left foot back, coming into a high crescent base. So high crescent base, very similar to warrior one, except the left foot will be pointing forward as best as you can. If you prefer warrior one base, you're welcome to stay in warrior one. If you want a little bit more challenge, high crescent base. So let's bend that right knee to stack, track, and then freeze it there. And then still strong through the left leg, and then we'll upright the spine. So you might already feel that the balance is challenged. So you're welcome to stay here. If you'd like a little bit more challenge and it is safe for you to do so, let's lift the arms and pull the shoulders down. So finding ourselves in high crescent pose and then holding here. So if your left toes are pointing forward, you'll feel some wiggles happening in the ankles. And we just want those soft wiggles. That means that the ankles are working to keep you upright, strengthening there. Take another inhale. And then as you exhale, let's release those fingertips down onto the chair. Inhale. Now we'll straighten the right leg. You might feel your left heel reach the floor if it was lifted before. And then as you exhale, with those thighs engaged, hinge forward at the hips. So our pyramid, little slightly different version of our pyramid pose, and breathing here. So it might not take a lot of hinging forward to feel that mild sensation of a stretch only. So just go to your point that feels good. Should be a pleasant stretching sensation. And then let's start to bend through the right knee. We'll upright the spine. One more inhale to come into high crescent pose. And then exhale, release the fingertips down and step it forward. Let's go over to the other side. Right foot steps back. Maybe it's your high crescent pose with all 10 toes pointing as forward as you can, or maybe you're settling the heel down, coming in for warrior one. So your choice. And when you're ready with that core engaged, the legs are engaged, let's maybe lift one or two arms and then take a few rounds of breath in your high crescent pose. Settling your gaze on a single point can be helpful for the balance, and then enjoying all those wiggles. If you do find that you might be losing your balance, please place a hand down onto the chair or just step out of the pose. Let's take an inhale, and then as you exhale, release fingertips down, and then straighten the left leg. Maybe draw the chair a little bit closer to you if you need it. And then with both thighs engaged without locking out the knees, take an inhale. And then as you exhale, hinge forward at the hips. Thinking of a nice straight line from the base of the head down to the tailbone, not overarching through the spine. So engaging through those core muscles, breathing here. Nice. And then let's slowly bend through that left knee, stack it and track it, upright the spine. One more inhale into our high crescent pose, and then exhale, release the fingertips down and step it forward. Let's come back into a supported forward fold. So separate those feet a little bit wider than the hips, forearms onto the top of the chair, maybe little petals here. If it is okay on your body to go lower, you can place the hands onto the seat of the chair or even fold over the top of the chair. But find what works best for your body. So if it is more comfortable for you to stay up a little bit higher, please just stay up a little bit higher. And then from here, let's come into downward facing dog. So let's place the hands onto the top of the chair, elbows in, and then straighten the arms until you have a long spine, flat back, and then start to step your feet back. So it is up to you, the depth of your downward facing dog. If you'd prefer to stay a little bit higher, then you can stay a little bit closer to the chair, keep the chest lifted. If you want a little bit more, if it is okay for your body to do so, start to step those feet back. You can even widen the feet, wider than the hips, and then bend those knees and feel the hinge forward feeling of the chest drawing down any amount that is good for you. So you'll feel a stretch along your glutes or your buttocks, but you'll feel also a stretch for the chest, an elongation of the spine. And we'll take another moment here. So find the stretch that works best for your body. And then let's bend those knees, engage through those core muscles so that we can lift the chest and safely walk back to stand behind the chair. And then with our feet about hip bone distance apart, let's come into that heel lift once again. Maybe you're lifting the heels a little bit higher. Maybe you feel those wiggles of the ankles, and that's what we're looking for. Make sure the ankles are comfortable. And then maybe you're playing with the balance, or maybe not. And then slowly release those heels down. Shake it out if you need. And I'm going to turn to face you so we can go through our Warrior Two series of poses. So let's start to separate those feet. Nice wide stance, that feels good. Nice easy stretch here. And then we'll draw the toes, just turning them out just a tiny bit, not coming into temple pose, but more coming into a few little side lunges to kind of open up the body a little bit more. So let's bend those knees and hinge forward at the hips. So then our forearms are onto the top of the chair. And then from here, we'll start to bend one knee. And remember, we always bend towards the direction of the center of the toes and it doesn't go past the toes. So we're bending, so you feel a stretch in the opposite inner leg, and then coming to center and over to the other side. So it's just up to you how much you would like to bend through those knees to get an easy stretch through those inner legs. You can also draw your bottom back behind you. If you do find that your knee is starting to go past the toes, you can draw your bottom back a little bit behind you. And then let's come back to center. Soft bend in those knees, hands onto the top of the chair, elbows in, still maintaining that strong flat back. Let's do kind of a little push-up so we can press our way up with a strong flat back. And then let's parallel those feet, coming into our wide leg stance. And then from here, we'll slowly circle those arms out and up as you inhale. And then exhale, hands to the heart. And let's just take a moment here. If you'd like, you can close the eyes to work on the balance. But if you do feel unstable, feel free to place a hand onto the chair. Find your Ujjayi breath. And then let's open the eyes, release those fingertips down onto the chair. Let's lift the right heel, turn I'll mirror you, your right knee to point towards the right. And then find your warrior two. So bending the right knee to stack and track. Feel that opening sensation, that stretching sensation of the inner legs, shoulders over the hips. And then when you're ready, maybe 1 or 2 arms lift and then pull the shoulders down. And we'll just take another 3 rounds of breath here. For the full expression of the pose, you can turn your head to the lead leg, soft gaze over that middle finger. Sometimes we flow so quickly through these poses that we don't get to really feel the full benefit of the pose, whether that's strength or stretch and even balance. And then let's slowly release fingertips down, straighten that leg, all 10 toes pointing forward. And let's move right over to the other side. Lift the left heel, turn the left toes, point to the left, and then bending the knee, stacking it, tracking it. Draw those back toes in just slightly so it has the same angle as the hips. And then when you're ready, let's maybe 1 or 2 arms or no arms, and then pull the shoulders down. So feel lots of strength in this pose. Working the muscles of the upper back to pull the shoulders down, tightening up through the core. Legs are working a lot, maybe turning the gaze over that front hand and breathing here, feeling the work of the outer front leg to keep that knee tracking toward the center of the toes. And then let's release. Hands down, straighten that leg, all 10 toes pointing forward. Inhale to lift. And then exhale, hinge forward at the hips. Maybe forearms are onto the top of the chair. Maybe hands are onto the seat of the chair. So find what works best for that mild sensation of a stretch. Engage through those thigh muscles without locking out the knees. And breathing here. And then let's place a soft bend in those knees. 1 hand at a time to the top of the chair, elbows in, strong flat back, doing a little strength work for the chest and the arms as we do a little push-up. You'll feel it on the back of the arms as well to come back to an upright position. Let's lift the right heel, turn the right toes to the right, coming back into a warrior two stance. Bend the right knee, stack and track it. Draw those left toes in a little bit, and then let's open up the arms. Let's come into our reverse warrior. Flip your right palm, reach it up and back. Maybe this bottom hand is on the chair for support, or maybe you're relaxing it down. Keep moving the shoulders down. The gaze can be up at the top hand or anywhere that feels comfortable on the neck. But still think about the strength of the legs. We're breathing here. And then let's start to straighten that front leg. So coming into reverse triangle, let's take the bottom hand onto the chair for a little support. As we come into triangle pose, we'll draw the hips back as we reach that arm forward, getting lots of stretch for the side waist. And then maybe keeping the chest a little bit higher than you normally would in your triangle pose. We want to make sure that the shoulders are drawing back. So if there's a wall behind us, we can get both shoulder blades comfortably onto that wall. And then we'll release that hand down, maybe back of the hand to the inside of the leg, or maybe it's on the chair. And if it feels good on the top shoulder to lift the arm up, pull the shoulder down, or maybe even over the head. Trying to get a relatively straight line from that top wrist to the top shoulder to that back heel. And breathe here, still thinking about opening up the chest. Make sure it's pointing forward. Lots of work for this top side waist. And then to come out of the pose, we'll start to bend through that right knee so we can come back to warrior two. And then fingertips down and turn all 10 toes to point forward. Sometimes the longer holds are even more challenging than when we do flow through a practice. Good strength work though. Let's move over to the other side. First coming into warrior two base, so adjusting heel to arch alignment, bend the right knee to stack and track, draw the back toes in slightly. And then when you're ready, maybe one or two arms lift, draw the shoulders down. Find warrior two, and then let's come into our reverse warrior. Flip the left palm, reach it up and back. Maybe this bottom arm or bottom hand is on the chair for support, and moving the shoulders down. And then the gaze is wherever feels good. Maybe your gaze is to that front knee just to make sure that it is staying in that proper position. And breathing, finding just a nice easy side stretch, side bend that feels good to your body. And now let's start to straighten that left leg. Notice if the hips are starting to twist out to the side. See if you can still draw those hips to point a little bit more towards the chair. This is our reverse triangle, and then to come into triangle pose, initiating from the hips, draw the hips back and up. As you reach as far forward as you can, feel the stretch and the work of the side waist, and maybe staying up a little bit higher. And then when you can no longer reach, let's release. Maybe that hand onto the chair or back of the hand into the inner leg. And then opposite arm, if it feels good on the shoulder, can reach up, shoulders down. If you want a little bit more, maybe start to turn the palm of the hand to your left and then draw the arm alongside the ear, thinking about relatively straight line along that right side of the body, and breathing here, looking to wherever feels comfortable to you. Lots of work in our triangle pose. And then to come out, let's slowly start to bend the left knee so we can upright the spine back to warrior two. And then hands down, straighten the leg, all 10 toes point forward. Take an inhale to lift. And then exhale, hinge forward at the hips, coming into a stretch that suits your body. And make sure that your bottom isn't drifting behind the heels. Even the balls of the feet can press into the floor. Taking just another couple rounds of breath here. And then let's have a soft bend in those knees. We'll do our little push-up. Draw the hands one by one on the top of the chair, elbows in, strong flat back as you press into the hands to upright. And then let's start to heel toe those feet, or step the feet a little bit closer together. Let's come into our tree pose. Let's come into our balance. So chair's here for support if you need it. Feel free to keep a hand on the chair the whole time. Your right leg is a standing leg. Let's lift the left heel. We'll open it up so you can place the left heel on the inside of the right ankle and stand up tall. Engaging through those core muscles, draw the shoulders back and down over the hips. Pull the head back. So the head, those 6 to 8 pounds, if it's off alignment a little bit, it can affect your balance. So we want to try to keep everything in that proper alignment. Head over tailbone. Tailbone is just almost over the heel of the standing leg. Maybe stay here. Maybe test the balance a little bit by lifting that foot a little bit higher. Maybe the hands are at your heart, or maybe you're keeping the hands down, or maybe you're lifting the arms up. So find your tree pose. And then let's slowly release, hands down, step it out, shake it out if you need to. And let's move over to the other side. So stand up tall to start. Shoulders draw back over the hips, head pulls back, belly engaged. And then let's lift now your right heel, open it up, find your tree pose. Right heel to the inside of the left ankle to start. And then maybe sliding it up higher. Maybe you're playing with the position of the arms is a challenge, or maybe you're playing with the height of that lifted foot, or maybe you're playing with both. So find where you do feel challenged, but you still feel safe. And breathe. Find your Ujjayi breath. Use your breath to help relax the body so we don't tense up. We want the body to be relaxed so that it can wiggle and move around a little bit to find its way back to balance. So whatever feels good to you. You can even play with the vision. That can really challenge the balance. And then let's slowly release it on down and shake it out. Ooh, that was my ankle. All right. Let's find our way back to mountain pose so that we can inhale, arms out and up. And then exhale, hands to the heart. Nice work. Okay, let us carefully come back to a seated position in our chair so that we can do some stretches, some good grounding poses. So have a seat in the chair and we'll sit a little bit towards the front edge of the chair. Let's come into our side crescent pose. So let's swivel over. I'll mirror you, so you'll swivel over to face to your left, and we'll sit predominantly on our left leg. And then with the hand on the back of the chair for support, let's slowly start to release that front knee down. You can have the toes curled under or not. It's up to you depending on how your knee is doing. If the knee becomes uncomfortable or doesn't like it, then lift the knee a little bit higher or just come into a seated position. And you can scooch so you're more fully on the chair. But if the knee feels good, to start to draw that leg a little bit further back behind you. Find what feels like your mild sensation of a stretch along this front thigh and hip flexor. We're still sitting up tall, practicing that good posture. Take an inhale here. And then as you exhale, let's do a little twist, turning just the shoulders and the chest, a little of the rib cage to the back. So towards the back of the chair. Hands can be on the back of the chair for support. If it feels good to turn the head a little bit more, you can, but just find what feels like that mild sensation of a stretch. And breathing here. If you have twisted the upper half of the body, let's slowly untwist. We're still going to keep those legs as is, but we're going to have our right hand on the back of the chair for support, and then we'll slowly start to lift your left arm up, any amount that feels good, or you can keep the fingers on the shoulder, but move the shoulder down. Coming in just to a gentle side bend, take an inhale, and then as you exhale, you'll side bend to your right or towards the back of the chair, so you'll feel a stretch all along this front or left side of the body. And then let's slowly come back up, release that arm down, and then we'll turn to face forward through center and over to the other side. So sitting predominantly on the leg that is closest to the back of the chair, arm on the back of the chair for support, and then first slowly move that knee down to find your easy sensation of a stretch on that thigh and the hip flexor. Neutral position in the spine. So the more you draw that front foot back behind you, the more you really have to engage the core to make sure that the tailbone moves down. So our side crescent pose. If you'd like to add the twist, we'll sit up tall and then slowly start to turn the head, shoulders, the chest, maybe a little bit of the ribs towards the back, hands on the back of the chair for support, and turning the head just to a comfortable point, whatever feels good. And finding that Ujjayi breath. And if you have twisted, let's slowly untwist. Legs stay as is. And then let's lift your arm up to a comfortable point or fingertips on the shoulder. Or you can even just relax the arm down if you'd like. Pull the shoulders down. Take an inhale, think of lengthening, and exhale, just a very gentle side bend towards the back of the chair. So you'll feel all along the right side of the body, the outer right leg. Only going to point that still feels good, pain-free. Let's slowly come up, release the right hand down, or your hand down, and then let's draw the knees together and swivel forward. And then let's separate those feet a little bit wider than the hips. Take an inhale here, maybe a little arch in the spine, and then exhale, release it down. Nice stretch for the back of the body. And then place the hands onto the thighs. Let's slowly roll it on up. Walk the feet more towards hip bone distance so we can do our hip stretch. So either step one foot forward of the other, relax forward, or if the joints feel good, cross the ankle over the thigh above the knee, flex through the foot. And then maybe folding forward until you feel your mild sensation of a stretch on that outer hip, not pressing on the floating knee. And we'll just take a few deep rounds of our Ujjayi breath here. Just feeling the body relax a little bit more. And then let's press on up, switch over to the other side. Maybe you're just sliding that foot forward, leaning forward, or you're crossing the ankle, whatever feels good. If you are crossing the ankle, flex through the foot, so toes to the knee, and then relax forward. All right, let's slowly come on up. Release that foot down. Let's scooch back into our chair so you can feel the support of the chair. Let's open up the chest. Maybe the arms are just floating alongside, or maybe you're reaching your fingertips down the legs of the chair. Head is wherever feels good. Just get one more stretch, one more opening for the chest. One more really deep Ujjayi breath. And then as you're ready, let's slowly draw ourselves back. You can lean your back into the chair. All right, let's get some rest in our closing pose of our seated Shavasana. You can turn the palms of the hands to face up if you need a little bit more energy for the rest of the day, or palms of the hands to face down if you need a little bit more soothing. Also depends on what time of day you're practicing. And then you can close the eyes or have a soft gaze down towards the floor. And we'll breathe in any way that is most comfortable for you so you can release your Ujjayi breath. Let's take an inhale together. Exhale out the mouth. Feel your body relax. And we'll be here for just a few minutes in our Shavasana. And slowly begin to deepen your breath. Send some movement into your fingers, into your toes. And then let's stack the hands atop our heart and take a moment to feel gratitude to yourself for coming to your practice, and gratitude for anything or everything that you have in your life. Then let's draw the palms of the hands together at your heart center. Take a moment to recognize that intention or dedication that you set. Thank you so much for allowing me to guide you to your practice today. It truly is a privilege and a joy. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we will see you next time.